So a quick review of the exit ticket items here. And the two questions you were asked for your exit ticket, you were asked to find the value of y. And so for this first one, you do have a right triangle here. And you're given that y is one of the legs. The other leg is 6, and the hypotenuse is the square root of 85. So since it is a right triangle, it should obey the Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to set up the Pythagorean theorem. I just have to be sure I'm putting things in the right positions. I do know what the hypotenuse is, and I do know what the leg is, and I know y is one of the other legs. So when I set it up, I'm going to be setting it up as y squared plus 6 squared will equal the square root of 85 squared. So y squared plus 36 is just going to equal 85. When I subtract 36 from both sides, I get that y squared equals 49. And then when I square root both sides, I get that y equals 7. Again, I don't assume it to be a negative 7 because we are talking about a side of a triangle, and in this context, a negative doesn't make any sense. For the second one you were given, same kind of situation. You have a right triangle again, except this time y happens to be the hypotenuse. So I'm going to set the Pythagorean theorem again, except now y is going to be the one that's alone on one side of the equation squared. So I'm going to have 10 squared plus 5 squared equaling y squared. That means that y squared equals 125. So y would be the square root of 125. They will often ask you to put it into simple radical form. So y was going to equal 5 times the square root of 5 here. There are other possible answers for this kind of situation. You could write it as a decimal and things like that, but it really depends on what they're asking you to do. This one really gave you no directions, so other than the multiple choice items that you were given, it would have been made it a little bit more difficult to possibly know what they wanted for y unless they gave you the items for that. So 5 times the square root of 5 is the correct answer. So if you have any additional questions, please make sure to ask your teacher about it, or if I'm your teacher, ask me about it. But until I get to see you in a class of mine, or if you're one of my students, I get to talk to you on the phone, I'll see you around. Have a good day.